I wasn't going to film a video this week, but books have been stacking up so high on my desk. If I don't do an emergency book haul, I'm going to get lost underneath them. Especially since Half Price Books is doing its warehouse sale this weekend, and I plan to bring back boxes full. First up, my author copies of Carney Punk came, and they look amazing, and I'm super excited. The inside looks really cool too. It's got all this like sort of fancy watermarking going on, and yeah, it's fantastic. And I'm really in love with the story of mine in there. Yeah, and so they sent me like 10 copies of it, which is exciting. So that's that. If you're not aware, it's an anthology. My story, The Sweeter the Juice, is in there, and it's got zombies and trannies and horror and stuff. Just lots of stuff. Barnes & Noble has their Red Dot summer clearance going on, so I got a whole bunch of hardbacks for $2.99. Let's run through them. Let's go through the literary ones. First, I picked up The Submission by Amy Waldman. This is about a group who's overseeing the rebuilding of the 9/11 site, and the fact that their top contender is a Muslim architect and all of the drama that that creates. Sort of like a jury type situation. Along the lines of 9/11, this is an alternative history fantasy called The Mirage by Matt Ruff. Matt Ruff is a local author. This is a story which involves us bombing them. The Twin Towers there are twin mosques in an Arab nation, and it's just what would happen if we were the terrorists. Interesting kind of concept. A little bit out of order here because I got these at Half Price Books as well. Colson Whitehead's The Intuitionist. This is an allegory about racial inequality told through a fantastical vision of elevator repairman. I've actually heard about a lot about this one, and I've been meaning to read some of Colson Whitehead's stuff. Look at that. Look how young he is there. You might know Colson Whitehead. He has like sort of gray dreadlocks, and he's sort of like an interesting character. Anyway, I also picked up A Spot of Bother by Mark Haddon. This is his follow-up to The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, and I believe it's sort of a dysfunctional family drama, comedy, satire, what have you, one of those things. Finally picked up my own copy of Lullaby by Chuck Palahniuk. Started this book a long time ago and just never got through it. It's about a real estate agent who sells haunted houses so that she can keep reselling them over and over again, but then finds a book that has a lullaby that kills children. So there's mystery and horror and comedy. Speaking of comedy, Amberville by Tim Davies. This is a noir thriller set in a world entirely populated by stuffed animals. It sounds freaking insane. I'm excited to get to that. On my agent's recommendation, I picked up Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. This sounds like one of those sort of 80s Joan Collins-y, Jackie Collins, kind of a super trashy novel that I'm gonna love, I'm sure of it. Picked up The Chihuahua of the Baskervilles by Esri Albritton. This sounds like there are ghost chihuahuas in it, real chihuahuas as well, and it takes place on the moors, as the Baskervilles might suggest. It's a cozy mystery. Lars Kepler's The Hypnotist. This is one of those Swedish thriller drama, I don't know, likely cold, very cold. I got Machine Man by Max Berry. Max Berry is a really cool sci-fi writer. One of my favorite books, which I'll pull out just for a reference here. Jennifer Government is actually one of my top 10 favorite books ever. And so Machine Man is one of his, I believe his follow-up to Company, which was an interesting satire on the state of American consumerism and companies and fun. I got The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. No one told me this was a leaflet. It's a leaflet. This was a very expensive leaflet, so I hope it's great. I hope it is. I also got Lucky Bastard by S.G. Brown. Scott's a friend of mine, and it sounds like this is going to be more funny satire stuff with a slight fantasy edge to it. Speaking of fantasy, Lev Grossman's The Magician King. This is his sequel to The Magicians, and I'm sort of halfway through that one. I keep putting it down, primarily because I had it on audiobook, and that is not working for me. I'm going to have to go back and read the actual book. Let's look at some horror books now, why don't we? I got an audiobook along with my Carney Punk author copies. Simon & Schuster sent me the audiobook of It Grows on You. This is a bunch of short stories that I guess had never been captured on audiobook before. So I love that because I listen to audiobooks when I'm walking. I got Christopher Buehlman's Those Across the River. This sounds like a creepy sort of neo-Southern Gothic horror novel, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but I've had it. I've checked it out of the library and just never had the chance to read it. Jason Starr's The Pack. This is a contemporary sort of urban fantasy that's more geared towards horror. It's about a businessman who gets involved with a pack of sort of unscrutable characters who turn out to be werewolves, and they run the streets of New York. As you do. I'm sort of on a John Lindquist's kick in terms of buying them, at least. I haven't read any of the other ones. This one's Harbor. This just sounds like a creepy, snow-covered mystery about missing children and bloody footprints, and I'm sure it's frightening. I hope not in a John Saul sort of way. Caroline found a 99-cent copy of The Lord of the Rings, the sort of massive bind-up of all that. So we picked that up. I don't think that needs any introduction. N.K. Jemison's The 100,000 Kingdoms. I met the author in Columbus, Ohio at a party many moons ago, and her book had just come out, and it sounded fantastic at the time, but just never had a chance to pick it up. So I picked it up. Simon & Schuster also picked up a couple of copies of Go Ask Alice. I've never read Go Ask Alice. I'm probably going to give them away. Joan Hullab and Suzanne Williams' Goddess Girls. A series. I don't know what number this is. I know that this is it looks like a middle grade book. Probably going to give that away too. A manga called Vampire Night. This is number 3 in that series. Don't know anything about it. Also, the 4th book in the Ugly series, Extras. I got 2 of them, so I'm probably going to give one of those away at some point once I figure out what to do with them all. Amy Reed's Clean. I believe this is a 3rd in a series. I could be wrong. If I am, please correct me in the down bar. Also, one last YA book that I picked up specifically because I was after it was Gregory Galloway's The 39 Deaths of Adam Strand. And this is about a kid that keeps committing suicide and waking up the next day. So it's got sort of a really dark take on Groundhog's Day, which sounds even a bit darker than Lauren Oliver's Before I Fall. So we'll see. Now, let's get down to giving this bad boy away. And here's your winner! That's all right, Holly. I'm sending you a direct message now, and get back to me, and I'll get that off to you. You know, I realize I've got other stuff that I need to get to people, and it's going to take some time, so yeah. I plan to do some more giveaways soon, so that's that. I got to get back to writing. Bye, y'all.